you're going to get objections. Nobody says yes to anything right away, right?
Right.
Nobody ever does. Like the best example, I used this yesterday. I had a call with somebody. Have you ever been to a restaurant? Are you a big dessert guy? You have a sweet tooth?
No.
Ugh, damn it. All right, well, I'm going to use the example
My
anyways.
wife isn't.
Okay, well, your wife. Perfect. That'll work. Have you ever been at the restaurant, like you went out for a date night or something, and like you just ate way too much, and you're like, oh, you're feeling like
Yes.
just the nutty professor over there. You had so much
Mhm.
food. And the waiter comes by, he lets you settle for a second, comes over, and he's like, all right, guys, so are we ready for dessert? And you're like, oh, God, no. You're like, you'd literally need to wheel me out of here if I had dessert. There's no way I can have it. And he chuckles. He's like, okay, well, I'll leave a dessert menu so you can look at it, but I'll give you guys a few minutes to settle. Do you need any more water or anything? He leaves. You're sitting there and you're like, I can't even think about dessert. And then you're like, you glance at the menu and you're like, well, what do they got? And it's like, oh, gosh, dang it, they got creme brulee. And your wife's like, I love creme brulee. And they have chocolate lava cake too. I love chocolate lava cake.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, I mean, it is Saturday. It is my cheat day after all. I worked really hard this week, I deserve a break. And next thing you know, the waiter comes back and you order not one but two desserts because you looked at the menu and you're like, I can make room, right?
Right.
Even though 6 minutes before you were like about to assassinate the man for even asking if you wanted dessert, right? Well, what's the difference there? Some people say, well, they changed their mind. Yeah, they changed their mind, but why? Originally, when they said, no way in hell am I having any dessert, I'm way too full of steak and potatoes right now, they were giving you their truth at that moment based on the information that they had. Okay? They didn't know you had creme brulee and chocolate lava cake that would have totally made them do a 180 and say, fuck yeah, sign me up. Right?
Right.
But the waiter gave you more information, which was, here's the dessert menu. And lo and behold, you're like, well, okay. And you ended up getting two desserts because you couldn't pick. They were both your favorite, right?
Right.
Happens all the time. Am I crazy? That happens all the time. Happens to me all the time.
Yep.
So that's the same thing with any objection. Like people when they say no to something, they're really not saying no most of the time. 1 in 100 people is going to give you a real no just because they're a-holes. But most of the time, if somebody says no, they're giving you their answer based on the limited information that they currently have. So like if someone says, no, thanks anyways, I think we're good. Like we didn't have any damage. Do they really know that they don't have damage? No.
No.
But
no.
At this point, they're maybe only thinking, well, if I had damage, my roof would be leaking. So they feel like they're telling you the truth. Like, no, we didn't have any damage, but thanks for stopping by. Well, if you just said, okay, cool, thanks, well, here's my card. If you do need someone and you walk away, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you say, Mrs. Jones, I can completely understand why you'd feel that way. In fact, almost everybody feels that way. The thing about hail is it's not like lightning hitting your house or like wind. Like when wind blows shingles off, you can see like, oh no, I have shingles in my yard. Like, my roof looks like a Dalmatian. Like there's missing pieces everywhere.
Right.
When hail hits your roof, what it does is it leaves like a bruise. Like, Mrs. Jones, if you were to punch me in the arm, please don't. But if you did, I would get a bruise, right? But not right away. You might not even see it for like 6 days, right? Doesn't mean I didn't get hurt. But hail's kind of the same way. Like when hail hits your shingle is basically a very thin layer of asphalt covered with these granules. And the granules are there for two purposes. One, to make it pretty and give it color. And then two, is to actually kind of protect that asphalt from the sun. So when hail hits your shingle, it knocks off those granules, it loosens them. And sometimes you can't even tell. Like sometimes I have to come back and do a second inspection months later because I honestly can't tell if there's damage or not. But once you get enough rain, sun, wind, and weather and wear on those spots, all of a sudden you got all these circles all over the roof that, by the way, are really hard to see from the ground. Even when you get on the roof, like the colors of those things are hard to see. But what it does is, eventually, it wears away those granules, and now you've just got exposed asphalt holes all over the roof. And it doesn't take long for sun to come down and eat a hole through there. Then, and by the way, this takes months, years sometimes, Then you finally get water coming in. And by then, you've long forgotten about that hailstorm. You don't even know what's going on. And as an added bonus, like, you're way outside your claim period. So that's why we do, that sounds like a really scary story, Mrs. Jones. I'm not meaning for it to sound like super extreme, but that's why we do these inspections, because it's better to know now if there's damage or not. And insurance covers it anyways. So if we do find something up there, I'll let you know what we do to help you out. But if I honestly don't find anything, like, you very well might not have any damage. I found a couple of roofs like that. Most of the ones that didn't have damage were only 1 or 2 years old. They were very new. But if there's nothing up there, nothing for me to do, because I'm not a roof salesman. I do insurance claims. So would 4 or 6 on Tuesday work better for you? Right? So now all you've had to do was give them a little bit more information. And now they're like, oh, you gave them something to consider. So then if they say no, well, that was an informed no. And maybe they call you back a couple weeks later when you see that you did 3 of their neighbors' houses and they actually had damage. But otherwise, they're like, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, 4 o'clock works fine. I pick up the kids at 3. I should be home by then, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of objection handling, but you want to just give a neutral blanket door knocking approach first that does handle the most common objections that anyone would have first, but then allow those objections to bubble up so that you can give them more information. Don't look at it as like an argument or this person's trying to get me off their porch. They don't know enough.